All right, hey everybody, we're back, and we're going to talk about a couple of new things that have popped up in the news over the past few weeks. Normally, we're not a news channel, as it were. We don't really, it's not that we don't keep up with current events. We're just not one of those video
We're not
channels that
running to
tries
the
to,
webcam every time something happens.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're not out there posting every single day, what's the latest thing, scuttlebutt on the internet about Star Wars. But sometimes things pique our interest enough that we want to talk about them. And the latest thing that's just come out probably in the last 2 to 3 days, I'd say, is suddenly, the Lando series is a go. If you'll remember way back to December of 2020 when they announced all the new Star Wars series that were going to be coming out and all that kind of stuff, Lando was one of those things that was mentioned. It was never really hard, concrete evidence about what it was going to be about. We all just kind of speculated, oh, it's going to be, Donald Glover and young Lando adventures, things like that. Well, now all of a sudden, more than 3 years, well, almost 3 years later, I should say, almost 3 years later, we've got news that suddenly Donald Glover and his brother are signed on to not only act in the movie. Well, I mean, Donald's going to act in it, but the pair are going to write the show, which I thought was very interesting. Twist, which I didn't see coming, but now
No,
that's definitely planning. Of course, again,
it's
all
gonna
this
be some
hinging on the
wild
writer's
stuff.
strike and the actor's strike. Nothing's going forward right now, but they're at least putting it in the news that this is definitely a go and we are moving forward. So what were your first thoughts on that, Greedo? What do you think about all this?
Well, I saw it while I was at work, and it was a reputable website, not
Hmm.
just clickbait.
Yeah.
So I copied it. I copied the link and sent it to you and Gundark because
Yep.
I knew you guys would look at it. I didn't have time to look at it. So I'm hearing that it's real from you for the first time right now. I
Yeah.
haven't had a chance to backtrack and look it up. And I'm amazed. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy always was coy about it when they'd ask her. She'd say, "We're
Hmm.
just waiting on Donald Glover," but then she'll also say, "Recasting originals isn't the way to go.
Yeah.
We've learned that." Well, isn't that? Aren't you putting your foot forward in that same concept with a movie that, according to you, failed? So
Hmm.
I'm not sure. Again, it's mixed messaging all the time from Lucasfilm and Disney. I swear to God, we're
Yeah.
cutting back, but here's Lando. You
Right.
know, um,
That's the other thing I wanted to get
I
into.
swear we're going to cut back just as soon as we finish these 56 episodes of Lando Calrissian. But and then I know that Atlanta, see, I joked, I said Atlanta's over, so now we get Lando. And I think that's the
Right.
truth. I think
I think there's a
Donald
lot of truth to
and his
that. Yeah.
brother were into Atlanta. It was a great show, award-winning show, and they wanted to see it have its run. They wanted to put their
Hmm.
full thing into it. Very smart of them,
Yep.
okay? Because Star Wars fans aren't going anywhere.
Nope.
Now, if I had been Lucasfilm, I would have done everything I could to make it happen right after Solo, by throwing whatever open checkbook at them at the time that I could have done, or at him.
Hmm.
Um, Also, if I had been in George Lucasfilm, it wouldn't have been Solo or whatever. It would have been Calrissian.
Right.
Black
Right.
Panther came out same time as Solo, right before, right after, I don't remember, and made $1 billion.
Right.
It just I was kind of never more embarrassed to be a Star Wars fan. Not really, but it was pretty low
A
point
pretty low ebb.
to
Yeah.
just like to show to see them have the total lack of vision.
Hmm.
To just have their sitting right there, a winning thing sitting right there, and they just we'll just go with the to a completely concept that may or may not,
Yeah.
the my feelings of the young Solo aside, but um anyway, so I'm excited, looking forward to it, but I wonder what's going to happen when they see that first script when the writer's strike is over.
Right.
Will this just be another? Will they move on to something else? Will Glover
Yeah.
do another album
Yeah.
tour and just put this off? But if he doesn't get the excitement he wants, because they're not going to just put together a ABC family friendly,
Yeah.
by paint by the numbers thing. I just don't see that happening.
No, no, I agree.
If you've seen their work, they're going to say something with it.
Yeah.
It's not what Lucasfilm would next necessarily go hunting around for to find as a
Right.
concept for a Lando show.
Right. Yeah. I'm interested to see which direction they take it.
It could be
I'm definitely on board.
phenomenal.
I'm also interested to see
Yeah,
if they incorporate, you know, um, current Lando. I think that would be a really nice bookend, to have Billy D. Williams do
I've
it
always said that.
kind of an
Yeah,
intro scene. Yeah, we've talked about that in the past about how have him sort of
tell the wild tale, and then you see what really
and you
happened
see what really
with
happened
the
with
young
Donald
characters. Yeah,
Glover actually
and
playing it
it's
out.
obviously
Yeah,
different.
I
Yeah,
think that would be
than
great.
the way he
Yeah,
recounts it. That would be
right.
phenomenal.
His
Yeah,
fantastic version of it or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then you could even have Corey D. Williams playing his son
yeah.
or grandson or whatever, that he could
Hmm.
be the one telling the stories to. That would be really cool.
That would be neat. Yeah.
Um,
I would love to see what they did with that.
but I don't think they're gonna. I think this is probably just gonna be a Donald Glover for production, carried production. And
I think so. I
um,
think so too. Yeah.
I'm torn because, like I said, I think it's gonna be wild. It could has the potential to go. I mean, are they gonna make it for the family, or is it gonna be more of an adult
Adult theme type show.
dramedy,
Yeah.
comedy drama, or what?
Uh-huh.
Is it going to be a farce? They could do all kinds of stuff, and as long as it's compelling and great to watch,
Yeah.
um, I'd be down for it. So
Absolutely.
could be the kind of creative injection they need for some things.
Yeah, I just was shocked that it just kind of just happened. It's like that's literally one of those
Yeah,
shows that they announced it and really never talked about it again for 3 years. And then suddenly, boom, it's all over the news. Oh yeah, Lando's happening, and Donald Glover this, and Donald Glover that. Like, oh, okay. It's
to
just out of
announce it
nowhere.
right now reeks of desperation to me, though.
It kind of does with the stuff that's going on. Yeah, with
Yeah,
the that kind of
because
leads. Actually,
you
that's a good
can't
segue.
possibly deliver right now. No one's delivering anything right now. So
No
you
one's
can't
delivering
deliver.
anything right now.
So
Yeah,
all that happened was he picked up the phone and said, I guess I'm ready to pursue this now.
yeah. Let's do
You
this show
guys have been
now.
trying to get me to do. And but like we talked about, my brother's gotta be on board and we gotta have creative control, whatever.
And
And
that's
they
the way,
went,
that's
done,
the only way
done,
I'm going to
yeah.
be on board. Yeah.
And so somebody rushed right from the phone call to this announcement,
Yeah.
without having anything. And once they see how it's actually going, there's that meme of how it started, how it's
Yeah. How
going.
it started, how it's going.
Right.
Yeah.
How it's going may be radically different than the excitement of running to the teletype or whatever to announce the industry
Right.
news that we finally got Donald Glover, because
Yeah.
I guarantee you they haven't seen jack shit yet of what he's going to do. And
No, of course
they
not.
may
They're
not,
just going on his word that, hey, I'm ready.
yeah,
My schedule's free. Let's do this. Yeah.
wanting a thing and having that thing can be two different experiences according to Spock. So,
Yeah. 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 So that's a good segue into the next part I wanted to talk about here with everybody's probably heard from a couple of weeks ago, Bob Iger's comments, basically saying that they're pulling back on Star Wars and Marvel, examining, the context and why they're probably talking about primarily Marvel. So there is that aspect of it that not a lot of people are talking about. This article I'm reading here, which I will read a couple of excerpts from, is from StarWarsNet.com. And I basically just read the headline. Is Bob Iger says they are pulling back on Star Wars and Marvel, but this article examines the context on why he's probably talking primarily about Marvel versus pulling back on Star Wars. Let me see the parts I wanted to read here.
because the Marvel content outweighs Star Wars content like 30
By
to
a ton.
1.
Yeah, you could cut way back on
Yeah.
Marvel and still have more content than you do Star
Oh,
Wars.
there's always something Marvel coming
Yeah,
out or in
at
the,
all
yeah.
times.
Yeah.
So Disney CEO Bob Iger, he appeared on CNBC to speak about the present and future of the company. In that interview, Iger made some comments about a possible slowdown in Star Wars content. His quote was, "Yeah, you pull back not just on to focus, but it's also part of our cost containment initiative, spending
Cost containment.
cost, cost containment,
Cost containment. Let's
spending
get those
less
costs rounded up, put them in this pan here.
spending less on what we make and making less." So
Sir, this cost looks really cute. It wants out. No, keep it
no, don't
contained.
let it contain it.
Doesn't matter how cute it is. Doesn't matter how Lando, it doesn't matter. Keep it in that
Doesn't
pen.
matter if it's only Baby Yoda. Only let it out.
Only Baby Yoda. Yeah, Baby Yoda's roaming around just laughing at them all, and the other costs in the pen.
Right. So
It's grandfathered in.
the article goes on to say that Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has already said that they'll be spacing out their releases and rethinking the overall strategy. So everything seems to be on the same page there. But as far as Star Wars goes, this doesn't come exactly as a surprise either. But the situation is a bit different than Marvel's. Earlier this year, Iger said that to maximize the revenue, Disney World would be doubling down on franchises, but prioritizing quality over quantity. That I haven't heard that quote. I would like to know that. But Marvel and Star Wars tend to be put together here because of their similar contribution to the company, at least when they are both in good shape. However, Star Wars hasn't put out a movie in theaters since December 2019, and we've had 3 more years to go, and we have 3 more years to go before the next one, which Iger has said before that they will be making sure it's the right one before they put that forward. Then a little bit later,
Has anybody told Lucasfilm that?
yeah, no, I don't think so.
They seem to just run right to the cameras with whatever they have. Oh, look at this. Look, isn't this great? What? That's not the one? That's not the one. I thought for sure that was the one. Okay, well, hang on a minute. I got something else here.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, the article speculates about Mandalorian season 4 was set to start filming this fall, but that'll likely be pushed back indefinitely, of course. We've got we have there's
Pedro
been
Pascal.
confirmation that the second seasons of Ahsoka and the Acolyte have both been mapped out, but just not greenlit yet. So those won't be until at least late 25, early 26 at the earliest, probably. We've got.
I was just gonna say Pedro Pascal's always finding a way to slack out of work on the Mandalorian.
Right. Exactly. Let's see. There was something in here about that I wanted to read. Oh yeah, this is it. Okay, so we're talking about the money, and and I know we've talked about this before on some other episodes about why is it so expensive to make these films and these shows these days, and how everything's going to be a flop at this point because you can never hope to make back the money that you're sinking into this stuff. Here's a show that they're talking about. It talks about. Yeah, we talked about it before. Indiana Jones: Dial of Destiny was over 300 million. That was also obviously a Disney product. Andor cost 250 million. That's unbelievable for a TV show to cost $250 million. I think that's insane.
It looked amazing, but it did not look like 250 million.
No, and the streaming service, this is the reason why we're staring down the streaming bust.
Yeah,
they're talking about the bubble bursting anytime.
Well, they're
way sooner than they thought it was going to.
There's no way to justify that ambition with what you can get from the public.
Right.
You'd have to have every single person subscribing in the country, and they're not going to do that with Disney. They have a lot of appeal, don't get me wrong, but you can't buy customers.
Yeah, of course.
You can buy every property you want on earth or IP you want, but you can't buy customers.
Yeah.
And
then this kind of puts it into perspective. Skeleton Crew, a series led by 4 unknown kids, reportedly is coming in at a cost of 136 million. So
what?
Yeah, I don't know.
They better have the next Brad Pitt as a kid on there.
Apparently, I have no idea what's going on with this money and why it's escalated to that point. That's
inflation
insane to me.
You would think they'd be getting it down to an art to where they could produce this stuff in their sleep. And they could I do have a tip for them. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Flip the screen.
Right.
The TIE fighters sweep in from this side. Flip the screen.
Right. You've got it coming from the other side.
Right.
Saves you a whole shot right there.
You've done 10 shots for the price of one because you just keep doing that. I watched Battlestar Galactica as a kid. I know how it's done. They're launching fighters from both sides of the ship. Flip the screen. If it's going down the tube this side, flip the screen. Going on
the tube that side.
Same ship, same shot. The Cylons come from over here. The Cylons come from over there. Have them fight the same, the Borg cube every single episode, and just have the Borg cube bigger, blow up in different parts of the screen. Show you the same explosion.
Nice.
Done deal.
But yeah, so thanks to Star Wars News Network and that article specifically by Miguel Fernandez. It was pretty interesting, some of the reading there. But yeah, definitely go check out the article on their site. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where this stuff's going to end up. We're looking at a lot of undetermined things.
I would also suggest that you just get the Baby Yoda thing over with, to get the cost over with. Put him in front of a green screen like a weatherman, and just have him film every possible expression and motion and because he doesn't have any dialogue. You don't have to match any dialogue to his lips. Right. Just have him face every direction, put him in a bunch of different costumes. You've got all the Baby Yoda footage you need for the next 6 years. Just every time the Mandalorian looks down and Baby Yoda just with a different
Just
background
makes a
behind it.
face.
Yeah, with a different background behind it. And you got it. You got all your B-roll of Baby Yoda that you ever need. And the rest of it, he's just one of those dolls from the store, just stuffed in the pack, till he gets a close up.
Right,
Works for
exactly.
Gremlins.
So that's where we are with the strike going on, and with the impending, streaming bubble burst that they're predicting. I'm really interested to see where this stuff goes from here. If the bottom does drop out of the streaming market, I think it's because everybody's predicting this is the future, and I think it will remain to be the future in some extent, but maybe not necessarily within the context that we've seen it so far. But yeah, the spending just can't go on. We're already hearing that. Bob Iger and guys like that are saying, we can't just keep spending this kind of money, so we're going to have to cut back. So it'll be interesting to see where this lands in a couple of years.
Can you imagine the company just flops and they're bankrupt, everybody leaves, and it's like, yeah, I'm taking this Mandalorian series with me. What are you taking? Oh, I'm gonna take the Marvels or whatever. I'm gonna
Right.
take, everybody just takes a different series home with them. They're workably worthless.
Exactly. Oh, that's awesome. So yeah,
This
we'll be
is
interested
this
to
is
see
the
where
only
that
proof of
goes.
the 250 million I dropped.
Right. Awesome. Cool. Well, that's the latest from that. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. See you next time, guys. Thanks.
Hey, shout out to the Cantina Club from voice actor Anna Graves from Star Wars The Clone Wars, the Duchess Satine, Suki the Bounty Hunter, Master Tipley and Tiplar, and Senator Mina Tills. May the Force be with you.